Continuing with the Johnson County Public School Gazette under dress code and appearance. Tight clothing such as knit or spandex biker pants is not allowed. Clothing articles and or jewelry commonly recognized as being related to a group or gang, which provokes others to act violently or be intimidated by fear of violence, shall not be worn on campus or at any school activity. Any attire that is prohibited by policy code 4215, gang and gang related activity, is prohibited, and we'll talk about that next. No jewelry or accessory shall be worn by a student that would constitute a threat to the health or safety of the student or other students. All right, the next topic is policy code 4328, gang and gang related activity. The board strives to create a safe, orderly, caring, and inviting school environment. Gangs and gang-related activities have proven contrary to that mission and are prohibited within the school. A gang is an ongoing organization, association, or group of 3 or more persons, whether formal or informal, having as one of its primary activities the commission of criminal acts and having a common name or common identifying signs, colors, or symbols. Here it talks about prohibited behaviors under A, and that would include 1, wearing, possessing, using, distributing, displaying, or selling any clothing, jewelry, emblems, badges, symbol, or signs, or other items with the intent to convey membership or affiliation in a gang. 2, communicating verbally and non-verbally. 3, tagging the school. Let's see. 4, requiring payment of protection. 5, inciting others to intimidate or to act with physical violence upon any other person related to gang activity. 6, soliciting others for gang membership. And 7, committing any other illegal act or other violation of school system policies in connection with gang related activity. B, just tells you about, it gives you a summary that the superintendent and a designee, more than likely be your school, will be in regular communication with law enforcement. So therefore, if there's any type of symbols or clothing or accessories or behavior, and that they are in communication with each other, and if they see it on campus, then they will approach you. Here are the consequences of that violation. We're not using lockers this year, but just in case, locker searches. Student lockers are school property and remain at all times under control of the school. Students are expected to assume full responsibility for the security and content of their lockers. However, periodic general inspection of lockers may be conducted by school authorities for any reason at any time without notice, without student consent, and without a search warrant. We're going to move on to policy code 1710-4024-7230, bullying and harassment policy. So A here prohibits behavior and consequences. 1, discrimination, harassment, and bullying students, school system employees, volunteers, and visitors are expected to behave in civil and respectful manner. The board expressly prohibits unlawful discrimination and harassment and or bullying. This doesn't just apply to students, but applies to employees, volunteers, and visitors on school campuses. Okay, if you are going to stay for a game, or if you're a part of a club, or if you play sports, this also applies to you too. And the rest of the paragraph also talks about the policies and what will be expected, and disciplinary action if you do not abide by the bullying and harassment policy. So we're going to scroll down to, we're still on harassment policy. bullying, harassment. Number 2 here, retaliation, prohibited behaviors. The board expressly prohibits unlawful discrimination, harassment, and bullying by students, employees, board members, volunteers, or visitors. Visitors includes parents and other family members and individuals from the community, as well as vendors, contractors, and other persons doing business with or performing services for the school system. So within this bullying harassment policy, this policy applies to behavior that takes place in any school building or on any school premises before, during, or after school hours, on any bus or other vehicle as part of any school activity, at any bus stop during any school-sponsored activity or extracurricular activity, at any time or place when the individual is subject to the authority of school personnel, or at any time or place, including electronically, when the behavior has a direct and immediate effect on maintaining order and discipline in the school. The application of policy basically just that tells you that bullying and where it will apply to certain areas, basically what I just read, such as this policy applies to behavior that takes place in a school building, bus stops, etc. And the rest of this column 1 and column 2, it gives you definition of certain things that you may not understand, such as discrimination. What is discrimination? What is the category on that? Harassment and bullying. And we're going to move on to reporting and investigating complaints of discrimination, harassment, or bullying. Employees are required to report any actual or suspected violation of this policy. Students, parents, volunteers, visitors, or others are also strongly encouraged to report any actual or suspected incidents of harassment or bullying. Reports may be made anonymously, and all reports shall be investigated in accordance with that policy. So please, if you or anybody around you who see any type of discrimination, harassment, or bullying, please make sure you report it. All right, last portion to this Gazette, but it is pretty lengthy. We will talk about the policy code 3340-R JCPS Student Parent Technology and Citizenship Agreement. School and home usage. Your students will have access to and or be issued an instructional device for your school and or home use. Additionally, students are granted the privilege of access to the internet and network resources. Each student and parent is asked to read this document and sign the agreement page, indicating their understanding of the guidelines and procedures for digital citizenship and the use of the electronic devices and network resources. The Johnston County Public School technologies have been established for limited educational purpose. The term educational purpose includes classroom activities, continuing education, professional or career development, and high-quality educational enriching personal research. As we scroll down, let's go to the second column. It gives you the district provided devices, students and parent guardian understand and agreement. So when you are given the terms and condition for a computer, these are what you are agreeing to. Okay, and make sure that you and your parent are reading this because it talks about your responsibility and how you shouldn't loan it out and any type of destruction or theft or lost, you will be responsible. You or your parents will be responsible for that. Digital citizenship. Students understand and agree that the use of digital resource must be in support of education, research, and the educational mission and core values of the Johnston County Public School and abide by all copyright regulation. And this kind of repeats what we just talked about. Digital resources for instructional purposes only during instructional time. make sure that you understand that when it states here misuse can come in many forms, okay? But it is commonly viewed as any material sent or received that indicates or suggests commercialism, pornography, unethical or illegal behavior, racism, sexism, inappropriate language, bullying, or using inappropriate material, including but not limited to guns, weapons, pornographic material, inappropriate language, alcohol, drugs, and gang related images. So please understand that it is your responsibility to use your computer or your technology for school related purposes only. All right, so this column on the right, it talks about your parents and monitoring your activities. Here, students are not allowed to install software on their devices other than what is installed by Johnson County Public School. I don't think it gives you access anyways, but just in case, you are not allowed to install any type of application or software on them. This includes but not limited to applications such as music, downloading utilities, or other media downloading utilities and games. And then it talks about possible consequences for misuse. All right, that is it for us for the Johnson County Public School Gazette. Please ask any questions if you have any. And your teacher will give you access to this beautiful gazette so that you can review it at your own leisure.